जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। Hare Krishna. Welcome to Caitanya Pravaha online course. Today is the 5th session of our course, and today we will be completing the Adilila of Caitanya-caritamrita. In the last 4 sessions, we have covered the first 13 chapters of Adilila. In these 13 chapters, in the first 7 chapters, we have seen the tattva of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Advaitacharya and Panchatattva. In the first 14 shlokas of Caitanya-caritamrita, Kaviraj Goswami presents Mangalacharan, and these 14 shlokas are elaborated in the first 7 chapters. In these 7 chapters, different tattvas are described. In the next 5 chapters, from chapter number 8 to 12, Kaviraj Goswami describes his own inspiration to write the Caitanya-caritamrita literature, and also gives a very wonderful figurative description of Bhakti Vriksha, or the tree of Krishna Prema, represented by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself. And all the devotees of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu are compared with the various branches and sub-branches of this tree, and the fruits of this tree are compared to the fruits of Krishna Prema. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, along with all his associates, they were distributing the fruits of Krishna Prema all over the universe. So that description is there up to the 12th chapter. And in the 13th chapter of Adilila, we have seen the appearance of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And in the 14th chapter, which we are going to start today, we will be seeing Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's childhood pastimes. Kaviraj Goswami begins this chapter with a very beautiful shloka. He says, Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet Vismrite viparitam syat Sri Caitanyam namamitam. Kathanchana smrite yasmin means if you remember the Supreme Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet. Whatever is difficult becomes very easy by the remembrance of Lord Caitanya. Vismrite viparitam syat. But if we forget Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the opposite will happen. Even the easiest thing also will become difficult for us. So, by the remembrance of the Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, we can accomplish even the most difficult tasks very easily. That's the meaning of this prayer. Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite viparitam syat Sri Caitanyam namamitam. And Kaviraj Goswami further describes the glories of Lord Caitanya by offering more prayers. He says, Vande Caitanya Krishnasya Balya Leelam Manoharam Laukikim Apitam Isha Cheshtaya Valitantaram. Vande Caitanya Krishnasya. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Lord Krishna. Balya Leelam Manoharam, just like Krishna's Balya Leelas, childhood pastimes, are very attractive to the mind and the heart. Similarly, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are also very attractive to the mind. And Laukikim apitam, although the pastimes of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu as a small child appear like the activities of an ordinary child, still they are divine activities. Laukikim apitam, although they look like very ordinary activities, Isha Cheshtaya, they are all pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So one should not consider the childhood pastimes of Krishna or Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu to be ordinary, although they sometimes look like that. Krishna is doing some mischief in Vrindavan, or Krishna is stealing some butter from the gopis in Vrindavan. So they may look very simple, ordinary activities of young boys, but they are all divine activities. Same is the case of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's childhood pastimes. So when Mahaprabhu was a very small baby, infant baby, there was this special incident that happened. Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, the father and mother of Nimai, or Lord Caitanya, once they have seen some auspicious marks on the small feet of baby Nimai. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, means Nimai, so he first attempted to turn on the bed on his own. Small children cannot turn on their own. The parents have to just turn them upside down and all that back. But when the child attempts to do it on his own, then that event is celebrated as Utthana ceremony. So that is one incident that happened. Actually, Kaviraj Goswami gives a very quick summary of all the childhood pastimes of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu up till his marriage. So elaborate description of these pastimes is not present in Caitanya-caritamrita. So we will give only a summary of these pastimes. So then, as I said, there were some auspicious marks that are seen on the lotus feet of Nimai. So actually, when Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra saw some footprints with these auspicious symbols on their floor, they first thought that their deity Balagopal, who was staying along with their Shaligram Shila, so that Balagopal is walking in their house. They were thinking like that. Of course, Lord Caitanya is Balagopal only at this stage. So then, immediately after seeing these auspicious marks on baby Nimai's lotus feet, Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata called for Nilambar Chakravarti. So Nilambar Chakravarti came and he said that actually I have ascertained the astrology of this little baby. So there are 32 auspicious symbols on the body of a great personality, and all those 32 symbols are seen on the body of Nimai also. So the symptoms of Lord Narayana are present on his palms and his soles. So there are predictions also. He will be delivering all the three worlds. That's why he is also called Vishwambhara. And he will be preaching Vaishnava cult, and he will deliver all the maternal and paternal families, and he will protect and maintain the entire world. For this reason he is called Vishwambhara. So just like Gargamuni predicted the future activities and qualities of Krishna when he was a small baby in front of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata and Rohini Mata, similarly Nilambar Chakravarti also predicted the future activities of baby Nimai in front of Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata. And Prabhupada says that an incarnation of the Supreme Lord must be ascertained by these extraordinary bodily symptoms and also the predictions mentioned in the scriptures. No one can just claim that I am God just by showing some magical powers. So the extraordinary personality has certain physical symptoms also. Then baby Nimai grew up a little bit, and he began to crawl on his knees. And Krishna's childhood pastimes are also described by Sukadeva Goswami in the 10th canto. Janubhyam saha panibhyam. So with the help of two hands and two knees, this Krishna and Balaram were crawling like snakes. Janubhyam saha panibhyam. So similarly, Lord Caitanya, baby Nimai also began to crawl on his knees. And he also caused all the ladies, nearby ladies, to chant the holy names of Krishna and Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the plea of crying. So he would cry, and the ladies would gather around him and they will chant the holy names of Krishna, then only he will stop crying. So then he starts walking after some time. And one day, as Nimai was playing, enjoying his games, then Sachimata gave him some special sweets, sandesh and other sweets to Nimai. So Nimai did not eat those sweets. So much Sachimata gave those sweets, and then she went and she was doing her household duties. But Nimai started eating dirt. He did not eat the sweets. Then Sachimata immediately came there and then snatched the dust from Nimai's hands and asked him, "Why are you eating this dirt? I am giving you sweet meats and you are eating this dirt." Then baby Nimai started crying, and then he responded in a very sweet, small child's voice. He said that, "Why are you chastising me like this? This dirt and this sweet, both are same. So this sweet is a transformation of this dirt. So both are same. So what is the difference between them?" Then Sachimata defeated this Mayavad philosophy. So Mayavad philosophy may equate things like this, but Sachimata said, who taught you this philosophical speculation, baby Nimai, that justifies eating dirt? So she says that if we eat earth that is transformed into grains or sweets, we will feel the taste and our body will be nourished, we can become healthy and strong. But if we directly eat earth, then it will spoil our health, right? So then she says that I can easily bring water in a water pot, but I cannot bring water in this mound of earth. So the transformation of that earth will be useful to us in certain ways. You cannot directly use that earth. So although they are one in one sense, but there is a difference also. You cannot say everything is one. So the transformations also have their role to play, and they will have different repercussions on people when they are using it in different ways. So if we eat dirt, we will become unhealthy. If we eat sweet, which is also transformation of earth, we will become healthy, right? So if we eat dirt directly, we will become sick. So that is the philosophical confrontation that happened between this mother and child. So like that, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited several pastimes. So there is, through this simple pastime, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu established Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Now, the energy has no existence without the energetic person. An energetic person has no meaning without energy. Thus, energy and energetic person are one in that sense, but still energy can function by the will of the energetic person, while the energetic person is engaged in different other activities. They are different also. They are one also. So now they are simultaneously one and different. There are certain statements in the scriptures which are called Bhedavakyas. Bhedavakyas means those statements that emphasize the difference between the Lord and his energies. And there are some statements which are called Abhedavakyas. Abhedavakyas means those statements that emphasize the non-difference between the Lord and his energies. Mayavadis take this Abhedavakyas very seriously and consider the Bhedavakyas only figuratively. And if we give more emphasis only to Abhedavakyas, we become Advaitavadis. And if we give more emphasis to only Bhedavakyas and ignore the Abhedavakyas, we become Dvaitavadis. But both have their importance. Bhedavakyas are also true and relevant and valid, and Abhedavakyas are also relevant. We need to understand the context. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu said both are simultaneously true. That's why his philosophy is Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. Yes, there is a difference between the Lord and his energies. At the same time, they are one also. There is similarity also. So that's and it is achintya. It is inconceivable to an ordinary man's intelligence. So that's why Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is achintya bheda bheda tattva. We'll discuss more of this in the future sessions also. Now, just through this incident, Prabhupada also mentions about achintya bheda bheda tattva in this context where Nimai is eating dirt. Then few more childhood pastimes are described. Once Lord Caitanya, baby Nimai, child Nimai, he started eating food of a Brahmana guest. A Brahmana guest came to Jagannath Mishra's house and he started cooking food to feed to his deity. But Nimai came there and ate that food. And the Brahmana became little anxious and became angry. And again he cooked. Nimai again came and ate that food before it is being offered to the deity. Basically, he is trying to offer it to Krishna and Nimai is trying to prove that I am Krishna. So when he is calling for Krishna to eat, Nimai is coming and eating. So that means that Krishna is only coming and eating. So, but this Brahmana could not realize it, but eventually he could realize it. So this incident is elaborately described in Chaitanya Bhagavata, but summarized in just one shloka in this Caitanya-caritamrita. And few more incidents. Once two thieves came to steal the ornaments on Nimai's body. So they came and they kept Nimai on the shoulders, they gave him some sweets and they wanted to take Nimai to their hideout so that they can take all the ornaments of Nimai. So Nimai, apparently innocent child, he just took the sweets given by these thieves and climbed on their shoulders. So they went they took Nimai everywhere. They were trying to go to their hideout, but they went to different places and ended up in Jagannath Mishra's house only again. So as Nimai was missing, Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata, they were searching for Nimai everywhere. But when the thieves brought Nimai back to Jagannath Mishra's house, all the people there felt that these thieves did some favor in bringing Nimai back. They appreciated the thieves. So in this way, Nimai just bewildered the thieves so that they can bring him back to his house. So Nimai just enjoyed this ride. Just like Trinavarta took Krishna away 800,000 miles high into the sky and gave him a good ride and then brought him back safely to Gokul. Similarly, these thieves also took Nimai for a ride and then brought him back safely. They could not harm the child. So one more thing, Nimai, once he pretended to be sick and he started crying, and then he said that I want that prasadam which is made by Hiranya and Jagadisha on the Ekadashi day. So then, why is this child asking for this food from the devotees, from these two devotees' houses? Anyways, they brought that food and then gave him, and Nimai's sickness was cured after eating that Vishnu prasadam. And also, Nimai, being very naughty, he would go and steal some food from neighbors' houses. He would fight with other children, and he would break pots sometimes in Sachimata's house, and then he does all kinds of mischief, just like Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. So once Nimai chastised Sachimata with his soft hands. He just was doing like this. So just to have some fun, Sachimata pretended that she fainted, and other neighboring ladies came there and then told Nimai, oh Nimai, you were beating your mother and your mother fainted. What will happen? If you bring a coconut, then she will be revived. So they they were having some fun with the boy. Nimai went outside and immediately brought 2 coconuts and then presented there. Everyone was astonished. How did he get these 2 coconuts within no time? And everyone was surprised. So then Nimai is little more grown up. He goes to the bank of Ganges river, and on the bank of Ganges river there were some young girls who were doing some worship of Ganges and some devatas, and their desire is to get some good husbands. Nimai is quite young and these girls are little more grown up, they are little older than Nimai. But he would go there and he would disturb these girls. He would say that you worship me, you give all your offerings to me. Just like Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Like that Nimai also says, you worship me, you offer your homage to me, you give all eatables to me only. If you give all this to me, I will bless you that you will have good husbands. So in this way he would tease. Sometimes some girls will not offer anything to Nimai and they would just take their offerings and then they would try to run away. Then Nimai would say, oh, you are not giving me anything, I will curse you that you will get a very old husband and you will have many co-wives and so many children, right? You have to take care of all of them. So like that he would tease young girls. So but thinking that Nimai is their younger brother, these girls will do what Nimai wanted them to do. So now after that Nimai once sees on the banks of Ganges Lakshmi Devi. So Lakshmi Devi also staying there in that Navadvip area, and then she comes there, and then Nimai and Lakshmi Devi, they both are eternal consorts. Their natural attraction and love towards each other just immediately gets awakened, and Nimai tells Lakshmi Devi, just worship me, I am the Supreme Lord, I will give you all kinds of benedictions. And then she innocently worships Nimai also. And that's the natural position between the Lord and his eternal consort. So like that. So these are a few pastimes which are very quickly summarized by Kaviraj Goswami. And once some neighbors came to Jagannath Mishra and started complaining against Nimai. They said that your child is so naughty, he is doing all kinds of mischievous activities. And one day, Sachimata, just like in Vrindavan, all the neighboring ladies would come to Mother Yashoda and then Lord's complaints against Krishna. In Navadvip also, all the neighbors would come to Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata and Lord's complaints against Nimai. And now see, one day Sachimata went to catch her son because he is getting too naughty. So at that time Nimai was sitting on some rejected pots. So in those days these Brahmanas used to cook in earthen pots. So once the earthen pot is used to cook and offer to the deities, the earthen pots are like just rejected. You don't reuse them. So Nimai went and sat on those rejected pots. Apparently they are unclean. So Sachimata came to him and then said, "Arey, you are son of a Brahmana. You are supposed to be maintaining a great standard of cleanliness. Why are you sitting on the reject pots like this?" Like that, Sachimata was astonished and then she chastised Nimai, scolded Nimai for behaving in an unclean manner. Then Nimai said, "You are saying that this is filthy place and these pots are dirty? These pots were used to cook food for Lord Vishnu. How can they be contaminated? How can they be impure? They are used in the service of the Lord, they cannot be impure." So Sachimata was astonished to see this reply of Nimai, but still she forced him to take a bath and clean himself. So then sometimes Sachimata, while lying on bed with this small child Nimai, she would see some celestial denizens filling her house. And like that, once Jagannath Mishra also got a dream. So in this dream, one Brahmana came and told Jagannath Mishra that your son is the Supreme Lord, don't try to discipline him. And Jagannath Mishra said that he may be God or whatever it may be. I am his father and he is my son. It is my responsibility to discipline him, to control his mischievous activities. Otherwise, how will he grow up as a proper human being? I want him to be a very virtuous personality, not so frivolous like this. So I will discipline him. So that Brahmana became very impressed with the pure Vatsalya affection that Jagannath Mishra had for little Nimai. So this is the nature of pure Vatsalya, Kevala Vatsalya. Then after some time, Nimai's parents initiated his education. Okay, so this is a very short synopsis of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's childhood pastimes, and we'll enter. This is all Balya Leela. Now we will enter Pauganda Leela. Balya means 0 to 5, birth till 5 years age. Then 5 to 10 age is called Pauganda, and 10 to 15 is Kaishora Leela, and beyond 15 is Yavana Leela. Now in the 15th chapter of Adilila, we will see the Pauganda pastimes of Nimai. So Kaviraj Goswami begins this chapter with a very, very nice shloka. Kumanaha sumanastvam hi yati yasya padabjayoh sumanorpana matrena tam chaitanya prabhum bhaje. Kumanaha sumanastvam hi. Even Kumana means, mana means mind. Kumana means one who has bad mind, a materialistic person. Even a materialistic person also can become a devotee. Kumana means having bad mind. Sumana means having a pure mind. So even the most impure minded materialist also can become a pure minded devotee. Kumanaha sumanastvam hi yati yasya padabjayoh sumanorpana matrena. How will that materialist become a devotee? By offering sumana to the Supreme Lord. Sumana means having a good mind. Sumana also means a flower. So just by offering a flower at the lotus feet of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, one's impure mind can become pure. Om apavitraha pavitro va sarva vasthangatopi va yaha smaret pundari kaksham sabahya bhyantara suchihi. Just by remembering the lotus-eyed Supreme Lord once within the mind, we can completely purify ourselves internally and externally. Something similar is repeated here. Tam Chaitanya Prabhum Bhaje. Let me offer my obeisances unto that Lord Chaitanya, by who can transform the materially minded people into pure devotees just when they offer some flower to him. That's why the Lord is called Pranatapala. He always takes care of those people who surrender unto him, or even if they offer some pranams also, he will bless them, like that. So now we will discuss the Pauganda pastimes of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord that he has performed from age 5 to 10. So in this age, during this time, our Nimai began his education and he showed his excellence in studies. So he would immediately learn Vyakarana and he would study at the place of Gangadhar Pandit. He would learn all kinds of grammatical rules and definitions by heart simply by hearing them once. He is Shruti Dhara. He will hear once, he will learn it by heart. He is so sharp, he is so intelligent. Of course, he is Vedaischa Sarvair Ahameva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Veda Videvacha Aham. So by studying all the Vedas, he is to be known. He knows the Vedanta, he compiled the Vedanta. So just for him to study Vyakaran or grammar, it's not a big thing. So now, one day, actually Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described the education pastimes of the Lord. So that's why Kaviraj Goswami doesn't elaborate them. Now, one day, not baby, now he's little grown up, he's above 5 years. So this child Nimai requested Sachimata to not eat grains on Ekadashi day. Then Sachimata followed. Sachimata agreed and observed fasting on Ekadashi. Then, as Nimai was growing like this, his elder brother Vishwarupa planned to take sannyas, right? Because Jagannath Mishra wanted to arrange for the marriage of Vishwarupa, and Vishwarupa heard, oh, my parents are planning to get me married to some girl. I am not interested in marriage, so let me take sannyas. So he just left the parents and then he took sannyas. Bhala haila Vishwarupa sannyasa karila pitrukula matrukula duyi uddharila. So now Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu tried to console this Nimai, although he is just less than 10 years old by this time. His parents were feeling so bad and morose that their elder son left them. And Nimai went and consoled the parents, saying that Bhala haila Vishwarupa sannyasa karila. So Vishwarupa has taken sannyas and it's very good. And Pitrukula Matrukula Duyudharila, and he tried to deliver the families of both father and mother. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu said that don't worry, he has taken sannyas, he did good thing only, but I assure that I will stay with you, I will take care of you. So then hearing these consoling and pacifying words of their younger child, Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra became pacified, they became little comfortable. So one day, Nimai ate some betel nuts and he fell unconscious. So when he fell unconscious, he had a dream. In that dream, he saw his elder brother Vishwarupa as a sannyasi. And Vishwarupa was calling Nimai, you come with me, you come with me. Then Nimai told Vishwarupa, I will not come with you. I will take care of my parents Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata. I will stay with them only. So Nimai told Vishwarupa like that, and after he got up from his dream, he narrated this dream to Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra, and they felt little happy and comfortable. It is very difficult to understand the pastimes of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he had this dream like this, he told his parents that, my dear parents, I told Vishwarupa that I will not go with him, I will be with you only. But when he reaches the age of 24, he takes sannyas, Lord Caitanya. At least till the age of 24, he was with Sachimata. So after some time, Jagannath Mishra passed away. So the father of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu left this mortal world, and Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu performed the necessary rituals of his departed father, and then he contemplated, I am staying in house, but I am not yet married. I have to get married now. Because while staying in house means I have to be like a grihastha. When I come to marriageable age, I should just get married. So one day the Lord was coming back from school and accidentally he saw Lakshmi Devi, okay, the daughter of Vallabhacharya. Then they already have an eternal relationship. So once they saw each other, that relationship got rejuvenated, and somehow by the inspiration of the Lord, Vanamali Ghataka, who is like a person who arranges for marriages, so he intervened, and then he came to Sachi Mata, and then he just had some negotiations, and eventually the marriage between Nimai and Lakshmi Devi has happened. And Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described this marriage in Chaitanya Bhagavata. That's why Kaviraj Goswami just gave a quick summary. So with these words, Kaviraj Goswami concludes the 15th chapter. Now we will enter the 16th chapter of Adilila. In 16th chapter of Adilila, we see Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's Kaishora Leela, means the pastimes that he has performed after age 10, from 10 to 15. That is Kaishora Leela. So Kaviraj Goswami begins this chapter also with a very sweet nectarian shloka. He says, Kripa sudha saridyasya vishvam aplavayantyapi nichagaiva sada bhati tam chaitanya prabhum bhaje. Kripa sudha saridyasya. Sudha means nectar. Sarid means river. What nectar is this? Kripa sudha. It's a nectar of mercy. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy flows like a nectarian river. Kripa sudha saridyasya vishvam aplavayantyapi. And this nectarian river of Lord Chaitanya's mercy inundates the entire world. And he says, Nichagaiva sada bhati, and this river flows to places, at places where even most fallen people are there. Right? Nichagaiva sada bhati tam Chaitanya prabhum bhaje, means Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's kripa inundates even the most sinful and fallen people also. Mahaprabhu came to deliver even the lowest of human beings. And he delivers even animals also. In Jharkhand forest, he makes even tigers and deer also to dance and chant the holy names of the Lord. So the more fallen one is, the greater is one's claim for Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's favor and mercy. Right? So, but for that, one must be very sincere and serious. So now, Kaviraj Goswami describes in the third shloka, Jiyat Kaishora Chaitanyo Murtimatya Grihashramat Lakshmyarchitotha Vagdevya Disham Jayajayat Chalat Jiyat Kaishora Chaitanyo. So all victory, all glories to Lord Caitanya in this Kaishora age. Okay, Kaishora means very young, 10 to 15-year-old. He is just entering teens. So all glories to the Kaishora age of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Jiyat Kaishora Chaitanyo Murtimatya Grihashramat, and he is worshipped in Grihastha Ashrama by Lakshmi Devi. He led an exemplary Grihastha life with Lakshmi Devi as his wife. And Disham Jayajaya Chalat Lakshmyarchitotha Vagdevya. During his Kaishora age, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu was not only worshipped by Lakshmi Devi, he was also worshipped by Vagdevi, means Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Means Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is performing exemplary activities as a Grihastha, and he is also teaching Sanskrit grammar, and he is also educating people, right? So that education is represented by Mother Saraswati. So Saraswati worshipped him because Mahaprabhu is acting like a teacher. So at the age of 11, that is the beginning of his Kaishora age, Mahaprabhu took the role of a teacher. 11-year-old teacher, great teacher of Sanskrit grammar, the Vyakaran. And even at that tender age also, Mahaprabhu defeated all kinds of scholars, right? And but although he defeated several scholars, because he was so gentle in his conduct and his dealings, people will not feel embarrassed or insulted, right? So his gentle behavior did not make them unhappy, although they were defeated. So he performed various kinds of pranks also in the Ganges. So as a child, he was doing some naughty activities, but also he's little sober as a teacher and as a grammar student. So he had several students also. So now, in this context, there was a nice incident that happened. So Mahaprabhu, he went to East Bengal, and there he introduced the path of the process of Sankirtana, congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. By the influence of his intellectual powers, he would even make several students also get attracted to himself and he would direct them. Okay. And in the East Bengal, there is this one Brahmana named Tapan Mishra. And Tapan Mishra, he is well read in scriptures and he is extremely scholarly, and he read so many books that he got confused, because different books are speaking different things. If one reads so many books, yes, one has to read very important Vaishnava literatures, but if one tries to read all kinds of books available, there could be confusion. Although he read so many books, he was confused about sadhana and sadhya. Bahu shastra, bahu vakya chitte haya brahma, chitte brahma haya, sadhya sadhana shreshta nahaya nischaya. Bahu shastra, bahu vakya. By hearing so many scriptures and by hearing so many statements from different people, chitte brahma hai, mind gets bewildered. Sadhana sadhya. What is sadhya? What is the goal of my life? What is sadhana? What kind of practice should I take up to attain the goal of life? People cannot ascertain these two. By reading so many scriptures, if you don't know what is your sadhana, if you don't know what is your sadhya, what is the use of being so well read? So, Tapan Mishra got confused about sadhana and sadhya. So, Tapan Mishra was a scholar, but he could not ascertain the goal of life. So, this Tapan Mishra, once he had a dream. In the dream, he saw a Brahmana, and this Brahmana told that, my dear Tapan Mishra, you should go to Nimai Pandit. He is the Supreme Lord, and take his shelter. So then this Tapan Mishra came to Nimai Pandit, and then the Lord instructed Tapan Mishra about sadhya and sadhana. My dear Tapan Mishra, so the object of your life, means sadhya, is to develop love for the Lord, and the process of attaining that goal is to do Nama Sankirtana, to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, to congregationally chanting the holy names of the Lord. So he instructed him like that. And then the Lord also instructed Tapan Mishra to go to Varanasi. You go to Varanasi, right? Now, the Lord ordered him to go to Varanasi, though he desired to live with the Lord in Navadvipa. But the Lord told Tapan Mishra, you should go to Varanasi. Why? The Lord, although he is in his Kaishora age, means he is below 15, still he knows that after 24 I am going to take sannyas. And after taking sannyas, I will settle down in Jagannath Puri. And from Jagannath Puri, I will be travelling to Vrindavan. And on the way, I will meet Tapan Mishra at Varanasi. So, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu had already planned to visit Varanasi in his future pastimes. So, that's why Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu told Tapan Mishra to make this Varanasi as his headquarters. So, the Lord has a plan. So, now Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu would stay at Varanasi at Tapan Mishra's house, and Chandrasekhar also would be there. And in their presence at Varanasi, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu would confront Prakashananda Saraswati and transform those Mayavadis. This, we have briefly seen that episode in the previous session also, from the 7th chapter of Adilila, where Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu confronted the Mayavadis headed by Prakashananda Saraswati. So now, after instructing our Tapan Mishra to go to Varanasi, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu continued his pastimes. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu contributed the greatest benefit to East Bengal by initiating people there in Harinam, and he also chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So now Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in East Bengal, in Navadvip area, Lakshmi Devi was feeling intense separation from Lord Caitanya, and the snake of her separation bit her, means she left this world. So she died apparently, but she left this mortal world in separation from Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So because of the disappearance of Lakshmi Devi, Mother Sachi felt so bad. She was feeling so morose. But Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu went to Sachi Mata and consoled her. And after that, after consoling Sachi Mata philosophically, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu continued to perform his activities as a teacher, Sanskrit teacher. and as a teacher he also kind of exhibited some pride in being a teacher. So he would pull people to do some debates, he will confront people with arguments and he would defeat them in arguments, and he will ask them, okay, you counter argue with me, and like that he would just unnecessarily pull people into certain discussions. These are all his playful pastimes. So then after some time Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu married Vishnu Priya, the goddess of fortune. This is the second marriage. So at this time one great Pandit named Keshava Kashmiri came to Navadvip area, and he was a great Pandit that he was given the title Digvijayi, means no one can conquer him, right? He conquers every other poet, he defeats every other poet, but he himself is never conquered by anyone. So he also had that pride of his learning. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai, once he was standing on the banks of Ganges and having some kind of discussion with his students. So then Digvijay Pandit or Keshava Kashmiri came there. So Nimai greeted him, oh my dear sir, I offer my respects to you, thanks for coming to Navadvip. Like that he greeted him. So this Digvijay Pandit was very indifferent and inconsiderate. Although this 11-year-old boy is coming and greeting him, he was not very, he did not receive it well. And he said that with great pride, he said, oh, you are Nimai Pandit, I have heard something about you. I heard that you are expert in teaching beginners grammar. So beginners grammar, Vyakarana, you are teaching. So I heard that you are teaching Kalapa Vyakarana, a branch of Sanskrit grammar. So and your students are also very expert in word jugglery of Sanskrit grammar. Then Keshava Kashmiri is little proud. So he taunted Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, portraying that his profession is nothing but word jugglery. So Nimai Pandit replied, yes, I am known as a Sanskrit grammar. People just, I am known as a grammar teacher. People just call me like that. But factually, I cannot even impress my students, right? Nor they can understand me properly. So Nimai exhibited some humility in front of Keshava Kashmiri, but Nimai will make Keshava Kashmiri humble. Humbly he will make him humble. Okay. So you are a learned scholar and you are experienced in poetry, and I am just a new student. I am not very experienced. So I wish to see your skill personally. O Keshava Kashmiri, can you please compose some shlokas on Mother Ganges? Now we both are standing on the banks of this Ganges river. So I have a great desire to hear some poetry from your mouth about Mother Ganga. So then Keshava Kashmiri accepted this challenge or request, and he immediately on the spot composed 100 Sanskrit shlokas glorifying Mother Ganges continuously, and he was chanting those shlokas like wind. It's not that they are already written shlokas and then he has learned those shlokas, practiced recitation of the shlokas, and then he is repeating that shloka now. He composed those shlokas on the spot, and 100 shlokas he composed, and he spoke them like wind, very expert. So in those days people used to be so experts in Sanskrit poetry also. Then Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai told Keshava Kashmiri, my dear Keshava Kashmiri, you are such a great poet. You have composed 100 verses within such a short time. Your poetry is so great that only you can understand your poetry, no one else can understand. So this is a little sarcastic glorification. It's not a very, very clear glorification. So when Nimai said like this, Keshava Kashmiri just looked at him, and Nimai told him, okay, you have recited so many shlokas, can you please explain the meaning of one shloka, one verse? Then Digvijay asked him, oh, you want me to explain the meaning of one shloka? Which shloka you want? Actually, Digvijay did not expect that Nimai would pick up one shloka, because this is the first time he has composed those shlokas. This is the first time anyone assembled there were hearing the shlokas, and 100 shlokas were spoken like wind, so fast like wind. How can anyone catch one shloka and then say, okay, I want the meaning of this shloka? If they are familiar, okay, fine, okay, I want the meaning of that shloka, but nobody is familiar now. But Nimai, although he heard 100 shlokas from Digvijay Pandit for the first time, he remembered all of them and he picked up one shloka and he recited that shloka also. Right? Nimai recited that shloka and said that, explain this shloka. That shloka is about Ganga. Mahatvam Gangayaha Satatam Imam Abhati Nitaram Yadesha Sri Vishnoho Charana Kamalotpatti Subhaga Dvitiya Sri Lakshmir Iva Sura Narair Archa Charana Bhavani Bhartur Ya Sirasi Vibhati Adbhuta Guna. So this is the shloka. We may not meditate so deeply on the meaning of this shloka, but to keep the discussion short, Nimai requests our Keshav Kashmiri to explain the meaning of this shloka. Okay. Now I want you to explain this shloka. Now you tell me, you point out what are the good aspects of this shloka and what are the faults in this shloka. And Keshav Kashmiri was taken aback. He said that faults in my composition, there are absolutely no faults in my composition at all. This shloka is perfectly alright. Okay. He denied that there is any tinge of fault in his composition. So Nimai said, no, yeah, your shloka is very nice. It has very nice similes and alliterations and it's very rhyming. It has nice meaning also, but still there are so many faults in your shloka if you analyze. Then Keshav Kashmiri said that no, there are no faults. Nimai says, yes, there are faults. If you want, I will point out those faults. And Keshav Kashmiri said, you cannot point out the faults. You are not qualified. You are a mere 11-year-old boy. You are not qualified to even analyze my shloka. And you don't know higher stages of Sanskrit grammar like alankaras and all that. Then Nimai said, yes, I am a neophyte student, I agree, but still I have heard from higher circles about alankaras and all. So somehow by their mercy, I can even analyze the shloka. Actually, when Nimai recited this shloka, Keshav Kashmiri was quite astonished and said that I recited the shlokas like wind. How can you even remember even one shloka in that? Then Nimai kind of pampered his ego, saying that, my dear Keshav Kashmiri, by the Lord's blessing somebody may be Kavivara, and by the same Lord's blessing somebody may be Shrutidhara. Kavivara means expert in amongst poets. Shrutidhara means one who is expert in remembering whatever he has heard. So it's all Lord's grace. By Lord's grace I could just remember. Then Keshav Kashmiri said, oh fine, at least he is calling me Kavivara. And now that Nimai asked Keshav Kashmiri to analyze the faults also, his ego was little attacked. So he denied faults. And he said that Nimai also should not analyze the faults. But Nimai said, no, I have heard from higher circles about certain technicalities of composing Sanskrit poetry, so I can analyze with your permission. So then Nimai analyzes. So he presents several faults. Mainly he presents 5 faults in the shloka and 5 good qualities also in the shloka. So we will not be discussing all of them because it's little deeper analysis of Sanskrit grammar, and that's not the main objective also of Nimai, to make us absorb in the Sanskrit grammar. But the point is to humble this Keshava Kashmiri. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu had to analyze his poetry and just bring him to the ground level, that you are supposed to be humble. You are not supposed to be so proud and puffed up of your scholarship. So he analyzed. So one mistake which is very popularly pointed out, the one mistake of this Keshav Kashmiri shloka is, in the 4th line of this shloka, Keshav Kashmiri used this phrase, Bhavani Bhartur. Bhava is Lord Shiva. Bhavani means wife of Lord Shiva. The very word Bhavani says that she is the wife of Lord Shiva. Now he said that Bhavani Bhartur means Bharta means husband, the husband of the wife of Lord Shiva. Now, Bhavani itself is sufficient to say that she is wife of Lord Shiva. This Bhartu word is redundant there. So it seems that Bhavani had another Bharta. Bhavani means she is the wife of Lord Shiva, the husband of the wife of Lord Shiva. That's what it means literally in English. So why is it necessary to add the word Bhartu there? So that's a redundancy in your poetry. And then there are few other redundancies also, and he also gives technical explanation of various faults on the shloka. And hearing this explanation by Nimai, Keshav Kashmir was totally astonished. And then Lord also praised that there are some Shabda Alankaras and Artha Alankaras in his poetry. So then Digvijay, this champion poet, his cleverness was stunned by the smartness of Nimai. So he could not say anything. He thought that this mere boy blocked my intelligence, and this means Mother Saraswati is not pleased with me. Internally he was having a dialogue with Saraswati Devi. My dear Saraswati, why have you made me compose such a faulty poetry? How could I compose such poetry with so many faults? And on top of it, Nimai also said that I presented to you 5 faults in your poetry. If I go deep, I can present even more faults. Okay, that's a big blow on the false ego of Digvijay Pandit. So actually, we may be expert in a few things, but having expertise is not the problem, not wrong, but being proud of one's expertise is a big problem, because Lord does not like pride in his devotees. Janmaishwarya shrutashri bhir edhamana madah puman naivarhati abhidhatum vai tvam akinchana gocharam. So having high birth, good education, a beautiful form and lot of wealth is not wrong. But if one becomes proud of these 4 material qualifications, whether it is education or high birth or whatever, then one cannot feelingly call out to the Lord. One cannot helplessly depend on the Lord's mercy. Ultimately, as devotees, we should always understand that we are dependent on Krishna's mercy. We should worship Krishna with love and devotion. But taking pride in one's material qualifications, if one cannot be devoted to the Lord, then those material qualifications are not worth having. Better be uneducated than being a scholar. Okay, even if there is no devotion. Now, having education is not wrong, but being falsely and materially proud of one's education and not having devotion because of that material pride is wrong. So, even we see several such incidents in our scriptures. Roma Harshana Sutta, he was very learned in the scriptures, but when Balaramji came in front of him, he could not offer respects. He could not even get up from his seat and offer some dandavats to Balaramji, the Supreme Lord. So the Lord took a blade of grass and killed Roma Harshana Sutta. So, like, having education is definitely great, but being humble is more important than being knowledgeable. In fact, Roma Harshana Sutta was giving teachings to several sages, and when Balaramji came there, all these sages, these Brahmanas who were hearing Roma Harshana Sutta's class, they got up and respected Balaramji. Apparently, the knowledge of these Brahmanas is not as much as the knowledge of this Roma Harshana Sutta. Roma Harshana Sutta is more knowledgeable, that's why he is teaching them. But people who had less knowledge presented more etiquette. They demonstrated a better etiquette than this person who had more knowledge. So the Lord is not impressed with our Janma, Aishwarya and Shruta and Shri. The Lord is impressed with our sincere devotion. So now he was considering that Mother Saraswati has created this situation to favor the champion Pandit. Actually, when one's pride is crushed, means one is feeling proud of one's scholarship, and when some other scholar comes and defeats us, then that crushing of pride is very, very beneficial for our spiritual progress, right? So When our false pride is increasing, if someone is trying to crush that pride and bring us down, he's actually helping us, right? When somebody outsmarts us, when somebody performs better than us in areas where we think we are experts, that's actually a very healthy situation, so that we don't become falsely proud. If you are always surrounded by people who are inferior to us in some way, we may think that we are the best. That's why there are 3 ways of dealings which are mentioned in Bhagavatam. 3 kinds of people we should associate with. Gunadhikan mudam lipset anukrosham gunadhamat maitrim samanadan vichen natapair abhibhuyate. Guna adhikam mudam lipset. When we see a person more qualified than us, who has more expertise than us, we should feel happy. I can learn from this person. Right? Gunadhikam mudam lipset. Anukrosham gunadhamat. When we see a person who is less qualified than us, then we should show compassion. We should not feel proud. We should not oppress that person or suppress that person. And when we see a person equal to us, we should not envy them. We should make friendship with them. When we deal with 3 categories of people in these 3 ways, then there is no tapa, there is no misery only. Guna adhikam mudam lipset. Be happy to meet a person who is better than you in some way or the other. They are greater than you, either in age or knowledge or wealth or richness or expertise or experience, whatever it may be. You should feel happy. You should not feel hatred towards that person. Right? In front of that person, I feel very low. I will not go in front of him only. No, you can go there and then you can seek the blessings. Right? You can also develop those good qualities that the other person has. So, if one is so falsely proud, thinking that I am the best and I am better than everyone, that pride will be crushed by the Lord's arrangement sooner or later. Here by Mother Saraswati's arrangement, this person's Keshava Kashmiri's pride is crushed. Even if one is greatly learned scholar, if he commits an offense to the Lord's lotus feet, he will not be able to speak properly. His compositions will be very faulty. So, like writing some poetry requires expertise. But if that poetry is written with pride, naturally there could be some faults in it. The pride itself is the fault. And because with that pride he composed that poetry, because of that overconfidence, people may tend to commit more mistakes. A person who is very humble, he thinks that I am not very expert, then he may offer prayers to the deities, prayers to higher powers, prayers to better personalities. They may seek some guidance of people better than us, and then they will write with their blessings. Then there will not be faults. But if one thinks that I can do it myself, if one is too overconfident about one's own expertise, then there could be some faults. So then this Pandit came back to his senses, and all the other people there, Nimai students, they started laughing, seeing the situation of Keshava Kashmiri, and Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu told them, don't laugh. So Lord Caitanya defeated this scholar, but he did not mean to insult him. So he did not want to make him so uncomfortable. So Lord Caitanya said that, please don't worry, you have composed such beautiful shlokas, and Mother Saraswati definitely has profuse blessings upon you. And even the compositions of great poets like Kalidas, Chandidas, they also have some faults here and there, but that's fine, not a problem. So you should not feel so bad. The same Nimai earlier said that even if the poetry is completely perfect, even if there is one fault, the poetry cannot be appreciated. So that's what he said before. But now to encourage and reassure this Keshava Kashmiri, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, fine, even great poets also sometimes do some mistakes, that's okay, you should not worry. So tomorrow we will meet again, I will learn grammar from you. So just because I defeated you now, that does not mean I become superior to you. I am still a young boy only. See, here Nimai is also exhibiting humility, that just because he proved other person wrong, that does not mean all the experience of the other person is totally dismissed or discounted, right? And it is ignored. Yeah, he is definitely a great scholar. Now he did some mistake, and you happen to point out that mistake. that does not mean the other person is totally has become useless. So what was wrong in the person? The pride. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu reduced that pride, removed that pride. Now he is pure. Now he is fine. So that night, this Keshav Kashmiri goes and contemplates, and in that night he has a dream where Mother Saraswati comes and tells Keshav Kashmiri, the Lord, the person whom you met yesterday, is my Lord also. Even I get my power from him. So better you go and surrender unto him. So by Mother Saraswati's instruction, Keshav Kashmiri came and fell at the feet of Nimai, and he begged forgiveness for his pride, and he surrendered to him completely. So that's the success of Keshav Kashmiri. He became a nice devotee later. So in this way, Kaviraj Goswami concludes this 16th chapter. Chaitanya Gosaira Lila Amritera Dhara Sarvendriya Triptahaya Shravanaya Hara. So Chaitanya's Gosaira Lila Amritera Dhara, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's Leelas are the flow of nectar. And Sarvendriya Tripta, all our senses are completely satisfied, Shravanaya Hara, by hearing those pastimes. Okay. So we completed 16 chapters. Now we will enter the 17th chapter, the last chapter of Adilila. So in this 17th chapter, Kaviraj Goswami describes the pastimes of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu up to his sannyas Leela. So he begins the chapter with this shloka. Vande svairadbhuteham tam chaitanyam yat prasadataham yavanaha sumanayante krishna nama prajalpakaham. Obeisances unto Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Vande svairadbhuteham tam. Svaira means he is totally independent. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the supremely independent Lord. He is not dependent on anyone. Yavanaha sumanayante. Even unclean Yavanas also can become sumanas, means well-bred gentlemen. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy can transform impure-hearted Yavanas also into pure-hearted devotees. That's the meaning of this shloka. And interestingly, in this chapter, Chand Kazi, a Yavana, is transformed into a nice devotee by Lord Chaitanya's mercy. That incident occupies the major portion of this 17th chapter. Before describing that incident, Kaviraj Goswami describes several other childhood pastimes of the Lord. It's a very long chapter. It's actually the longest chapter in this 5 chapters of Lord Chaitanya's Adilila. So he says, Vidya Saundarya Sadvesham Sambhoga Nritya Kirtanaihi Prema Nama Pradanaischa Gauro Divyati Yavvane. Vidya Saundarya Sadvesha. Vidya means scholarship. Saundarya means beauty. Sadvesha, fine dress. Sambhoga Nritya Kirtanaihi. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed with all these things. Nritya and Kirtana means dancing and chanting. Prema Nama Pradanaischa. And he distributed Premanam, means he distributed the holy names of the Lord that give us love of Godhead. These are the activities of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu described in this chapter. Mahaprabhu is so beautiful in his youthful splendor. He was very scholarly. He exhibited prema. And at this stage, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, he received initiation from Ishwarapuri. So once he went to Gaya to offer Pindadan for his departed father, and he met Ishwarapuri at that place, and then Ishwarapuri initiated him, right? So after that, after receiving initiation from Ishwarapuri, Mahaprabhu exhibited symptoms of love, Krishna Prema. So then he delivered that love of Krishna to Sachi Devi. So once Sachi Mata had passed some comment on Advaitacharya because of her affection towards Vishwarupa. Because in the association of Advaitacharya, Vishwarupa developed devotion towards the Lord, and he eventually took sannyas also. Sachi Mata just once spoke something about Advaitacharya. Then Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu somehow arranged a situation where Sachi Mata comes and touches the lotus feet of Advaitacharya, and her quote-unquote offense was nullified. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu does not like his devotees to be offensive towards other devotees. So that's one incident that is demonstrated through this, that's one lesson that is spoken through this pastime. And once Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his universal form to Advaita Acharya. And once Srivas Thakur did Abhishek of Lord Caitanya. Actually, several incidents of Mahaprabhu's Adilila are just enumerated, not elaborated in this chapter. Once Lord Caitanya showed his Shadbhuja form, Chaturbhuja form and Dvibhuja forms to Nityananda. Shadbhuja means in his Shadbhuja form, he had 6 arms. In his 6 hands he was holding conch shell, disc, club, lotus and bow and flute. And he also showed Chaturbhuja form and Dvibhuja form as Krishna. And he also carried Mushala. And he appeared in the ecstasy of Nityananda Prabhu. And he also showed the forms of Krishna and Balaram to Sachi Mata, same as Nityananda and Chaitanya. And he also delivered Jagai and Madhai. Now this Jagai and Madhai incident is very popular, but Kaviraj Goswami mentions that in just one shloka, one and a half shloka in Adilila. Because Jagai Madhai incident is elaborately described in Chaitanya Bhagavata, Kaviraj Goswami does not want to get into those details. You can refer to that. And the Lord also performed Mahaprakasha Leela for 21 hours, where he manifested specific pastimes with several devotees. And once he exhibited the form of Varahadev. He went into Varaha Avesha and he got up on the shoulders of Murari Gupta and started dancing. Okay. So, and once Suklambara Brahmachari, this great devotee, once came to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and offered him some grains. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu ate that raw rice given by Suklambara Brahmachari, and spontaneously he started explaining the meaning of Harer Nama Eva Kevalam Shloka. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranyadham. So there is no other way other than chanting the holy names of Hari in this Kali Yuga. Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranyadha. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama means 3 times it is repeated and Eva is added. Eva means certainly. Kevalam. Kevalam is also adding the emphasis. So already 3 times he repeated Harinama and then Eva Kevalam. So 5 times emphasized that only Harinama. And he also said Kalau Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva. No other way, no other way, no other way. 8 times emphasis is given. Gatiranyatha. Anyatha means no other way. It's like 9 times emphasis. Okay. So like that, this shloka is very elaborately explained by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Now he says, Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar, Nama Haite Haya Sarva Jagate Nistar. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. In Kali Yuga, Lord Krishna appears in the form of his holy name. And Nama Haite Haya Sarva Jagata Nistar. Only by the process of chanting the holy name of Krishna, entire universe can be delivered. So this is the message of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu while explaining this shloka, Harer Nama Kevalam shloka to Suklambara Brahmachari. Now he did not just stop at explaining the Harer Nama shloka. Means chanting the holy names of the Lord is the topmost process of deliverance for people in Kali Yuga. He did not stop there. What are the favorable qualities that facilitate our chanting? When can we effectively chant the holy names of the Lord? When we have 4 qualities. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu explains this, that Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadaharihi. This is a very important shloka that describes the mood in which a devotee should chant the holy names. What makes one chant the holy names of Krishna continuously? If one has these 4 qualities. What are those 4 qualities? Sunichatva. Trinadapi sunichena. Sunichatva means considering oneself humbler than blade of grass. When we are walking on grass, so grass will not protest. It's not like thorn. When you walk on thorn, when you stamp on thorn, thorn will just pierce our feet. It will enter our feet. It will cause bleeding on our feet. But small grass will not do like that. If you stamp on grass, grass will just humbly bow down. So one should be as humble as or humbler than a blade of grass. That is called sunichatva, first quality. Second quality is amanitva. Amanitva means one should not desire any personal honor from anyone. One should not hanker for honor. One should not expect that, oh, these people should respect me, these people should worship me, these people should treat me like this, like that. So one should not have such expectations. That is amanitva. Then manada means one should be willing to offer all kinds of respects to everybody. That is called manada. Then fourth quality is sahishnutva. Actually in the shloka, the sahishnutva comes second. Trinadapi sunichena, humbler than blade of grass, and tarorapi sahishnuna, that is being tolerant than the tree. So, but in this, the order is little different, but essence is same. Sahishnutva means one should have forbearance or tolerance like a tree, and not like a tree, more than a tree. Tarorapi sahishnuna. So, what does a tree do? Even if somebody cuts a tree, tree does not protest. Even if someone does not give any water to the tree, tree will not demand. Even if you throw stones on the tree, in return, tree will give us flowers and fruits only. Tree will tolerate all the heat and light and winter and monsoon and give us shade. Tree gives us firewood. Tree gives us flowers and fruits and all kinds of facilities to the human beings. And etavat janma safalyam dehinam iha dehishu pranair arthair dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. So trees completely dedicate everything that they have for the welfare of the human beings. That's the nature of trees. So they are very tolerant. So like the trees, one has to cultivate tolerance, right? No demands. Even if the tree is drying up and dying, it does not demand for water. Similarly, a Vaishnava should not ask anything from anyone. If someone gives him something without being asked, he may accept it, but if nothing comes, he should be satisfied with whatever is available. Then, if one has these four qualities, humility, tolerance, respect, not expecting respect for oneself. If one has these four qualities, then Kirtaniya Sadaharihi, one will be able to chant the holy names of Krishna, like that. So now, he says, Urdhva Bahu Kari Kahon Suna Sarvalokam Nama Sutre Ganthipara Kanthe Se Shloka. Oh, people in this world, I declare that this shloka Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtane Sadaharihi. I say that you should wear this shloka as beads, neck beads. I declare everyone string this Trinadapi verse on the thread of the holy name and wear it around your neck for continuous remembrance. Basically, Mahaprabhu is emphasizing that adopt this mood, become humbler than blade of grass, become more tolerant than a tree, respect everybody, don't hanker for honor from others. Then only you will be able to chant the holy names of Krishna. Because subtly these desires are there. Even though we practice for a long time, the desires for honor will not go, and sometime or the other, somewhere at least mentally, some kind of disrespectful attitude towards others will creep in, right? We may not be able to show humility or tolerance in various situations, right? Of course, in the name of being humble and tolerant, a devotee need not allow oneself to get exploited by others. One should have some expertise in dealing with people around the world, around in this world. That much is fine. But at heart, one should be humble. One should always be begging for mercy. Without that mode of humility, one cannot beg for the mercy of the Lord. Without that humility, one cannot actually be grateful for the blessings that one receives. One thinks that I deserve everything, right? So here Mahaprabhu says that tree does not have any demands, but an immature devotee demands certain facilities, right? So there is a sense of entitlement. Of course, I deserve this. I deserve this respect. I deserve this treatment. So Mahaprabhu says, no, don't have such expectations, right? So in that mood only you will be able to chant the holy names very effectively and continuously. Sada Harihi. So, so these are a few points from Mahaprabhu's teachings to Suklambara Brahmachari. Now, Kaviraj Goswami describes another incident of Gopal Chapal. Very interesting. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu used to lead Harinam Sankirtan in Srivasangan. Srivasangan means the house of Srivas Thakur. So they would close the doors, and this Panchatattva, our Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit, and many other intimate devotees, all of them would gather together in Srivas Thakur's house, and they would chant the holy names of the Lord continuously throughout the night. So one envious person called Gopal Chapal could not tolerate the respect and honor received by Srivas Thakur in that community. Srivas Thakur is a very respectable Vaishnava, and Gopal Chapal is always envious of Srivas Thakur. So he wanted to defame him. He wanted to disrupt his good reputation. So one day Gopal Chapal kept some Kali worship paraphernalia in front of Srivas Thakur's house. So that included certain type of flowers and some wine also, and some other things like some turmeric, kumkum, this and that. So he wanted to prove that Srivas Thakur is a Shakta worshipper, Kali worshipper. So this Kali worship is not considered very respectable or high in those circles at that time, right? In Vaishnava circles. So the next day early in the morning, Srivas Thakur opened his house, opened the door, and in front of his house he saw this worship paraphernalia. Srivas Thakur said that he called some neighbors. Oh, come here, all neighbors come here. See, this is what I am going to do. This is what I am doing every day in the night. I am worshipping Kali. See this paraphernalia. So Srivas Thakur was totally detached that even if there is some ill reputation, he was not feeling any inhibition. So Srivas Thakur was totally detached from his public image. He knows that he is devoted to Krishna, and Krishna knows how sincere a devotee is Srivas Thakur. If the world misunderstands him, it doesn't matter to him. That's how he felt. Of course, sometimes we may not be able to exhibit the behavior of Srivas Thakur, right? Sometimes we may have to protect our reputation also. Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu was extremely careful not to spoil his public image. Jagadananda Pandit, when Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas, Jagadananda Pandit would offer him all kinds of facilities and comforts. Once he brought some oil, very expensive sandalwood oil, and he expected Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu to put that oil on his head. Mahaprabhu would not accept it. I am a sannyasi, how can I accept such kind of comforts? That too scented oil, I have no use for it. Just give it to Jagannath temple, they will use to burn lamps. So if I put this oil on my head and then walk on the street, and people will smell that scented oil, what will they think? Okay, Mahaprabhu is quite conscious about his public image. But Srivas Thakur is oblivious to his public image. Right? Now you see, it's not about who is right and who is wrong. According to time, place, circumstances, and according to preference of the candidate, one's own consciousness, one will adopt to certain behavior. But Srivas Thakur is completely detached, and he says that I only have worshipped like this, because he was totally oblivious to public image. But interestingly, none of the neighbors of Srivas Thakur believed that he was a Shakta worshipper. They said that who has done this mischief? Who has kept this paraphernalia in front of Srivas Thakur's house? He is a pure Vaishnava. We know him very well. He cannot be doing this Shakta worship, Kali worship. So they called some sweeper and immediately cleaned that place and then purified that place with cow dung and all that, and it's all clean now. So no one believed him. However, although Srivas Thakur is detached from his reputation and public image, because Gopal Chapal wanted to cause ill reputation for Srivas Thakur, Gopal Chapal was affected by leprosy because he had an offensive thought. He was very offensive to Srivas Thakur. He purposefully, by mistake, if you cause some inconvenience to a Vaishnava, that could be seen as a minor offense because he never intended to cause inconvenience. But here, out of envy and jealousy and grudge, he wanted to purposefully, in a very premeditated way, in a pakka planning, he wanted to pull down Srivas Thakur's reputation. That's a very grave offense which Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu cannot tolerate. So after 3 days, Gopal Chapal got leprosy and blood was oozing from all the sores of his body and pus was coming out, and even germs and insects were biting him, and no human beings were coming closer to him. And he was feeling unbearable pain. He left that village and sat on the banks of Ganges underneath a tree. One day Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu saw him from a distance, and immediately this Gopal Chapal came and offered obeisances to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and said that, my dear Lord Caitanya, you are so merciful, you are a benevolent incarnation, please deliver me from this leprosy, I am suffering so much. Although Gopal Chapal was very sinful and talkative and envious, but still he had some simplicity. Without that simplicity, he would not have surrendered to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and requested him to show some mercy upon him. He had some simplicity. So he simply wanted to be delivered from these bodily sufferings, but Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict. If you offend me, I may forgive you. But if you offend my devotee, I cannot forgive you. He said, Are papi bhakta dveshi, you are a sinful person and you hated Vaishnavas. I shall not deliver you. What will I do? I will make you suffer for 10 million lifetimes in hell for your offense towards Srivas Thakur. See, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is declaring like this. If we offend Vaishnavas, the Lord is not happy. For 10 million lifetimes, he may allow the offender to rot in hell, but he will not deliver. But who will deliver? If the Lord himself is not delivering, who will show some compassion on such an offender? He will have to be like that eternally? Not necessary. If that offender comes back to his senses and humbly, unpretentiously, very honestly goes and begs forgiveness from that Vaishnava whom he had offended, that merciful Vaishnava will automatically forgive him, like that. So now, the Lord did not show any mercy, but later when Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu told, after Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas, he again came to Kuliagram, again Gopal Chapal was there with that leprosy, and then Lord said, your suffering is because of your offense to Srivas Thakur, you go and beg forgiveness from him. Then Gopal Chapal went and fell at the feet of Srivas Thakur and said, please forgive me. And Srivas Thakur said, I never took that offense. I don't mind. I never took it seriously. Yes, I pray that you be delivered from this leprosy. So then the leprosy of Gopal Chapal was gone, and Srivas Thakur showed some mercy. So by Srivas Thakur's mercy only, he was relieved from all sinful reactions. Now Durvasa Muni offended Ambarish Maharaj. Durvasa Muni went to the Lord Vishnu, he went all the way to Vaikuntha also. He was not forgiven. Then when Durvasa Muni came and fell at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj, by Ambarish Maharaj's prayers, Durvasa Muni was delivered. Ambarish Maharaj was so kind and compassionate that he even offered prayers to Sudarshan Chakra. Oh Sudarshan Chakra, you take all my pious credits and all the spiritual credits of me and my family and give one benediction, save the life of this Brahmana. And he felt so embarrassed that a Brahmana like Durvasa is falling at his feet. So these are some incidents that happened in Mahaprabhu's youth, and some more incidents. Once Mahaprabhu was, now Kaviraj Goswami describes 16 incidents very fast. He describes 16 incidents. We will also try to cover these 16 incidents as much as possible in today's session. So once a Brahmana cursed Nimai. Actually Lord Caitanya and all his associates were doing Harinam Sankirtan in Srivasangan. One Brahmana wanted to enter there, but he was not given entry. The doors were closed. The next day morning, this Brahmana met Nimai and said that you did not allow me in Harinam Sankirtan. So I curse you that you will lose all material happiness. Actually, Lord Caitanya need not accept this curse, but he accepted the curse. And he considered that this curse is a blessing. I will lose material happiness and I will be deprived of any material happiness, and I can become sannyasi and I can be absorbed in Krishna. This is a blessing in disguise. And next incident, once Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu blessed Mukundatta with a punishment. Because Mukundatta was hearing some Yoga Vasishta Ramayana from Mayavadis, right? Sometimes as devotees, we have our own Vaishnava scriptures. Sometimes some devotees may show some interest in some other literatures which may not be aligning with bhakti, right? And they may disturb our faith if we are not very careful. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu did not appreciate this Mukunda Datta's hearing of Yoga Vasishta Ramayana. So he said that I will not accept him. But later he accepted him anyways later. But this punishment, this temporary punishment is also blessing on Mukunda Datta, so that he gave up that Mayavadi association. And another incident, Lord Chaitanya always respected Advaitacharya as a guru. But Advaitacharya was not very comfortable. He is the Supreme Lord, he knows, Advaitacharya knows, and he only called Lord Chaitanya to appear. Advaitacharya was not very comfortable, so he started speaking something about Jnana Marga, right? Some like Mayavadis. He started speaking some Jnana Marga. Then Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu did not appreciate it. He started chastising, scolding Advaitacharya and started even beating him. So after receiving this chastisement from Lord Chaitanya, Advaitacharya felt that, oh, now I am very fortunate, I am chastised by the Lord. And he felt happy. And Mahaprabhu felt embarrassed. Oh, he purposefully spoke Jnana Marga so that I chastise him. So Lord Chaitanya realized this and then he felt very awkward. Then once Murari Gupta was a great devotee of Lord Ramachandra. He is an incarnation of Hanumanji. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote Ramadasa on the forehead of Murari Gupta. Then another incident, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once went to Sridhar Kulavecha's house and drank water from his broken pot, after leading this Harinam Sankirtan to Chand Kazi's house. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed Haridas Thakur and said that you are an incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj. And another incident, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once he was explaining the glories of holy name, and one ordinary student interpreted the holy name as a prayer of exaggeration. Mahaprabhu said, oh, this is an offense to holy name, I cannot hear this. So he said that don't see the face of this student anymore. He ordered everyone else. And without even removing his garments, he just jumped into the river of Ganges and he bathed there. So that's his response to hearing Nama Aparadh. Then once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praised Murari Gupta, you have satisfied Lord Krishna. Okay, and he quoted a shloka from Bhagavatam. Many such incidents are there. Once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu led Harinam Sankirtan and all the devotees were dancing and chanting and they felt a little tired. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took one mango seed and planted it, and immediately on the spot this mango seed gave birth to a big tree, and the tree grew so much, so big, and it gave several fruits, very ripened fruits immediately. And these fruits were so big that there was no peel on it and there is no seed inside it. You can directly pluck and then wash and eat. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu plucked 200 fruits and then washed and offered to Krishna, and then all the devotees ate. So instant mango tree. And the fruits were so nectarian, and fruits grew throughout the year, not only in summer season. Okay, and once they were doing some Sankirtan and clouds came, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at the clouds and the clouds stopped raining. And once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was hearing this Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra, 1000 names of Lord Vishnu in Srivas Thakur's house, and Narasimhadev's name came. Mahaprabhu went into the mood of Narasimhadev and he was roaring like lion, and he was wandering all over the street and he was going everywhere, and people were getting afraid seeing Mahaprabhu roaring like a lion. And after some time Mahaprabhu came back to external senses and he came back to Srivas Thakur and said, oh, I have done a great offense. I was roaring like a lion, like Narasimhadev, and people were afraid. It's a great offense to cause some fear in the hearts of people. Then Srivas Thakur said that, no, don't worry. You went into the mood of Narasimhadev, and many people uttered the names of Narasimha. By chanting Narasimha, people will get delivered. Okay, so people will get liberation. Don't worry, it's very nice. So I was narrating this incident to the children in Caitanya Pravaha children's course. One little child said that, Prabhu, I also chanted Narasimha, what happened to my liberation? I am not yet liberated. So by chanting the holy names of Narasimha, one will be liberated, but you may not immediately see the effects, but the process will manifest a visible result very soon. So now Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, once he saw one person, devotee of Lord Shiva there. So Mahaprabhu went into the mood of Lord Shiva and then he danced up and down. And he got up on the shoulders of that man and then he was playing damru and then he was dancing. So next, one more mendicant came to beg something from the Lord's house, and when the Lord saw him also dance, Lord bestowed love of Godhead upon that mendicant. And once an astrologer came and Mahaprabhu said, see my hand, can you tell me who am I in my past life? And seeing the hand of Lord Caitanya, this astrologer felt that, oh my God, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the source of all incarnations. How can I see his astrology? He got a big vision where he saw all avatars. Then he said the same thing to Lord Caitanya. Lord Caitanya said, you are wrong. Right? I am a cowhead boy in my previous birth. In my previous birth, I was tending cows, and because of the piety, punya that I have accumulated by tending cows, I have become a Brahmana in this life. Okay? Mahaprabhu is also right, and this astrologer is also right. And there is more discussion there. And once Mahaprabhu went into the mood of Balaramji. So that is also another nice pastime where Mahaprabhu enacted Yamunakarshan Leela. He was pulling Yamuna. So although it is time, so we will take few more minutes and complete this chapter and complete Adilila in this session today. So probably next session I will take a shorter session, but let's complete Adilila in this session. So now the rest of the chapter describes Mahaprabhu's interactions with Chand Kazi. So Mahaprabhu ordered that Harinam Sankirtan must be performed in Navadvip area. He ordered his devotees. So then all the devotees were regularly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and chanting the holy names of Krishna at their houses, and they were holding Sankirtan. But the local magistrate, Chand Kazi, did not like this. So people were chanting Haraye Namaha, Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Gopala Govindaram, Sri Madhusudana. They were chanting like this, and Kazi ordered that this Sankirtan must be banned. So once he went to somebody's house and he warned them, if you chant the holy names, if you perform Harinam Sankirtan, I will convert you into a Yavana. And he even broke a Mridanga also. He gave a warning. He ordered that no one should chant the holy names of Krishna anymore. And devotees went to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu and said, this Chand Kazi is not allowing us to chant the holy names. He is not allowing Sankirtan here. And understanding that anxiety, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, no problem. Today evening, everyone should assemble. And in the evening, I shall do Sankirtan in every street and in every town. So let us see which kind of Kazi will come and obstruct our Sankirtan. Okay. So now in the evening, several thousands and millions of devotees have assembled there. And in Chaitanya Bhagavad, there is much more elaborate description of this pastime. That people even appeared like four-handed Vishnu Murtis, and some thieves came. Everybody was going for Sankirtan. Now this is the right time to go and steal in the houses of people. But those thieves also joined the Harinam Sankirtan. Like that Mahaprabhu led this mega Harinam Sankirtan. So in the evening, he divided the devotees into multiple parties. So in the front party, Haridas Thakur danced. In the middle party, Advaitacharya danced. In the rear party, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu danced along with Nityananda Prabhu, because he cannot stay away from Nityananda Prabhu. So these four divine personalities, they led three parties and then they were dancing. So they were doing Sankirtan in every nook and corner of the city. And entire city was vibrating with the chanting of the holy names of Krishna, and Chandagaji became very fearful. And he went and he was hiding inside his house. And while chanting and chanting, all these devotees came to chant Kazi's house. And some people were attacking the pillars and gardens in Chandkazi's house, and they were shouting, come Chandkazi, come out, we want to kill you, we want to beat you, like that. And now Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu took some intimate associates. He went little closer and then told somebody, call Chandkazi. Chandkazi was hiding inside. Chandkazi somehow gathered some courage and then came in front of Lord Caitanya and said, and Lord Caitanya asked him, I have come to your house as a guest and you are not welcoming me? You are hiding in your house. What kind of etiquette is this? What kind of reception is this? So Chandkazi replied that in our village relationship, you are like my nephew, I am like your uncle, mama. So you have come to my house in an angry mood, that's why I was hiding myself, right? To pacify you, I did not come before you immediately. And it's my great fortune that you have come to my house, and I am very fortunate to receive a guest like you. Your grandfather Neelambar Chakravarti was like my uncle, then I will become your uncle. So sometimes uncle becomes upset and then nephew has to pacify. Sometimes nephew becomes angry, uncle has to console him. So this is, and now immediately Chandkazi got into a village relationship and then trying to speak with Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu in a very friendly manner. So now the Lord said, my dear uncle, I have come to your house with some questions. Can I ask some questions? Chandkazi said, yeah, you are welcome, please ask whatever question you have, you please ask. Then Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu asked, you are killing cows. You Yavanas, you are killing cows. You are drinking cow's milk, and cow is like mother who is giving us milk. And what kind of dharma is this to kill cows? Where is it written that you can kill cows? And Chandkazi is also expert in scriptures in one sense. So he said that he gave some scriptural arguments. My dear Nimai, you have your Hindu scriptures like Vedas and Puranas, and we have our scripture like Quran. So according to Quran, there are two ways of advancement, Pravritti Marga and Nivritti Marga. According to Pravritti Marga, advancement happens through enjoying propensity. Nivritti Marga means advancement, spiritual progress happens by detachment. So according to Nivritti Marga, we should not kill animals, that is prohibited. But according to Pravritti Marga, we can kill animals. Okay, we can kill cows, he says that. So now in your Vedic scriptures also, there are injunctions of killing cows. There is Gomedha sacrifice, where a cow is also sacrificed. Then Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu refuted Kazi's statements. He said that the Vedas clearly enjoin that cows should not be killed. We should not indulge in cow killing. Now in the Vedas and Puranas, even when such cows are killed, they are killed only for experimental purposes. The sages sometimes kill old cows, not young cows, old cows. By chanting some Vedic hymns, they will bring them back to life also. Only for experimental purposes they may do like that, but they will bring them back to life. The killing and the rejuvenation of an old and invalid cow was truly not killing the cow, it's an act of benefiting the cow. And in Kali Yuga, there are no such powerful Brahmanas, so cow killing is completely prohibited, even for experimental purposes. So Kali Yuga Brahmanas have no such power to do such experiments. And Ashwamedham Gavalambham Sanyasam Palapaitrukam Devarena Sutotpattim Kalau Pancha Vivarjayet. These 5 things are prohibited in Kali Yuga. Ashwamedha, sacrificing horses, horse sacrifices. Ashwamedham Gavalambham, cow sacrifices. Sanyasam means renounced order of life. Okay. Palapaitrukam Devarena Sutotpattim, offering flesh oblations to forefathers and begetting children through brother's wife. These 5 things are prohibited. Now one may say, if sannyas is prohibited, how come Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's brother took sannyas? And he himself also took sannyas later. So Prabhupada explains that sometimes people take sannyasa to live a life of irresponsibility. Sometimes people take sannyasa thinking that by taking sannyasa I will become God. Dandagrahana matrena naram narayano bhavet. That is their statement. Dandagrahana means if I just accept sannyas danda, naram narayano bhavet, I will become God. So some Mayavadic people, they feel that I will become God by accepting sannyasa. But Mahaprabhu says, no. This kind of sannyasa is prohibited. But that sannyasa by which one dedicates oneself completely to the service of the Lord, that sannyasa is never prohibited in any yuga. Prabhupada writes in one of the purports. So now it depends on the mood. Now these are a few things that are prohibited. This is spoken in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Okay. So Mahaprabhu says that since you can't bring the cows back to life, you cannot kill the cows. Right? And by killing cows, you will be condemned to hellish life for many thousands of years. As many thousands of years as there are hairs on the body of cow. Okay. Go ange yata loma tata sahasravatsara govadhi raurava madhye pase nirantara. So as many as the number of hairs on the cow's body, those many thousands of years we have to be in hell if we kill cows. And one more thing, you are quoting your scripture. I would say that your scriptures have so many mistakes and illusions. They are recently composed, and the people who have composed them also are not very advanced in their realization. And Kazi understood, yes, I agree with this. Our scriptures are composed very recently and they are not very well composed, but somehow I took birth in this kind of lineage. I just accept it as a formality, but I am also not convinced. Okay. So now Kazi, now Lord Caitanya asked, okay, one question about cow killing is over, the discussion is over, next discussion. Lord Caitanya asked Kazi, in your city there is always Sankirtan. As a magistrate from Yavana community, you have a right to oppose Hindu ceremonies. So why don't you forbid them now? Because recently earlier Kazi prohibited Sankirtan, but of late he was not prohibiting Sankirtan. So Mahaprabhu asked. Then Kazi said that if you allow me, I will explain the reason in a secluded place. Can you please come inside the room or to some other secluded place? Okay, thoda, you come little away, I will speak. The Mahaprabhu said, no, don't worry. You speak here only in front of all these people. These are all my intimate associates, don't worry. Everything is in confidence. Then Kazi said that when I broke Mridanga in one of your devotees' houses, I had a dream. In the dream, I have seen a very fearsome man. He has a human body, but he has the head like a lion. He was roaring. He had sharp nails, and he sat on my body when I was lying down, and he was threatening me that he would pierce me. If at all I stop Sankirtan anymore, he will just kill me. So then, and he said he will kill my entire dynasty and this entire lineage. So I was quite afraid. And you see, there are certain, he showed his chest also. There are some marks of his nails also on my chest. So Kazi was fortunate enough to have darshan of Lord Narasimhadev. Okay. So that very day, some of my soldiers came and told me that their experiences. One soldier said, my dear Kazi, I went to stop Sankirtan. Suddenly, flame struck my face and my beard got burnt. Right? And after this, I became afraid and I stopped Sankirtan. And there were some complaints from the Mlechas and Yavanas. They said that Hindu dharma is increasing unlimitedly in the city and we hear nothing about vibrations of Hari Hari, nothing but vibrations of Hari Hari, Krishna Krishna. And seeing these Hindus chanting Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Rama Rama, we are also chanting Hari Hari. Okay. So unconsciously we are also chanting Hari. Sometimes we are mocking them, saying that, oh, these are Hare Krishna people. And in that way we are also chanting. And when we are chanting like that, we are getting addicted to chanting. Unconsciously we are chanting more and more. And even while joking. And another Yavana said, since the day I joked with some Hindus, my tongue is constantly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and I am unable to control this urge to chant only. Okay. And some Pashandi Hindus also came to me. And they said that this Nimai Pandit broke Hindu dharma. This holy name of Krishna is so confidential that cannot be given distributed to anybody and everybody. But this Nimai, after he came back from Gaya, he has gone mad, he has become crazy. He started calling himself Gaurahari and he was spreading the holy name of Krishna everywhere. If everybody chants, the potency of the holy name will be lost. So Nimai has changed, you stop Sankirtan. Some Pashandi Hindus came and told Chandkaji like this. So Chandkaji has been having all these experiences, his dream of Narasimhadev, his soldiers' beard getting burnt, and some of his soldiers started to chant the holy names also by mocking the Hindus, and some Hindus are coming and complaining against Nimai Pandit. So Chandkaji said that I am having all these experiences, so I am not stopping your chanting anymore. So please go back home, I will never prohibit your Sankirtan. And the Kazi addressed that, Nimai, actually you are Supreme Godhead himself. I know Narayana is the Supreme God of Hindus and I think that you are the same Narayana. Somehow I feel like that. Lord Chaitanya touched Chandkaji and said, I am happy that you agreed not to stop Sankirtan anymore. And you also, while narrating all your experiences, you started speaking Hari Hari, Narayana Narayana, Krishna Krishna. And I feel so happy to hear the chanting of the holy names from your mouth. Okay, you are Bhagyavan. Tomara prasade mora guchhila kumati yei kripa karayena tomate rahu bhakti. So Chandkaji replied to Lord Chaitanya saying that, by your mercy all my contamination and impurities are gone. So please bless me so that I continue in this mood of devotion. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu said that, okay, my mercy is there with you, but I have one request from you. Pledge that this Sankirtan will never be checked, at least in this Nadia district, where you are the main head. Then Kazi said, not only me, I give this admonishment, I make this declaration that all my future descendants in my dynasty, I give this grave admonition, no one should check Harinam Sankirtan. So hearing this, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu got up and then chanted Hari Hari, and everybody left from that place. And after this only, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu goes to Sridhar Kulavecha's house and then drinks water from his broken pot. And there are few more pastimes in Srivas Angan. So Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda were dancing in Srivas Thakur's house very ecstatically, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he was dancing, Srivas Thakur's son died. But Srivas Thakur told all his family members not to cry and not to disturb Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda's Harinam Sankirtan. So, but Lord Chaitanya felt that something inauspicious happened in this house. I am not feeling the same ecstasy. Then someone told that Srivas Thakur's son died. But Srivas Thakur did not cry, and he was not allowing anyone in the family also to cry, but he was just allowing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to just perform Harinam Sankirtan to his heart's content. And Mahaprabhu came and said, how can I give up the association of such intimate loving associates who could even tolerate the pain of their child's death for my pleasure? Nobody could understand. Where is the question of giving up our association? Mahaprabhu is always with us. But actually Mahaprabhu was contemplating that he has to take sannyas one day. That's why he was speaking these statements. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this, and then he told Srivas Thakur, Srivas Thakur, from today onwards, I am your son. Nityananda Prabhu is also your son. We both are your sons. Okay. So then once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave his remnants to Narayani. Narayani is Srivas Thakur's niece. And also Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed some mercy on the tailor of Srivas Thakur. And the tailor happens to be a meat eater, Yavana. Right? And this tailor became ecstatic, chanting the holy names of Krishna, and became a first class Vaishnav. And also Mahaprabhu once heard the description of Rasalila from Srivas Thakur, and he also performed some dramas. Once one woman came and took the dust of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu became very unhappy and he immediately jumped in the Ganges river. So, because if one touches the dust from, if one takes the dust from a Vaishnava, that person would be kind of transferring some sinful reactions or some kind of karma to the Vaishnava who is whose dust he is taking. That's why one should not allow others to touch one's feet, right? So Mahaprabhu has demonstrated it. Of course, no karma or no sinful reactions can affect Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but still, playing the role of a devotee, he demonstrated like this. So now there are few events that led to Mahaprabhu's sannyas. With this, we will conclude. So once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was calling Gopi, 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 Gopi like this, in the ecstasy of gopis. So one student came to Lord Chaitanya and said that, what pious credits will you get by chanting Gopi, Gopi? Where is it mentioned that you have to chant Gopi, Gopi? And if you chant Krishna, 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 at least you will get some piety. So Mahaprabhu heard him and he became so furious. Actually, this person did two mistakes. Number one, he said that chanting Krishna's name is to accumulate some piety, which is wrong. Second thing, he underestimated the potency of the names of gopis. Krishna is spiritual personality and gopis are also spiritual. Chanting the name of Gopi, Gopi also is on a spiritual plane. Right? If one respects Krishna, but one cannot respect Krishna's associates, Krishna's foremost devotees, the gopis, then what kind of Krishna bhakti he has? So because of this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry and he rebuked that student. He rebuked Krishna also in various ways, in the mood of the gopis. And then he took a stick and ran behind this student to hit him. And this student he ran and then he went in the midst of several other students and said that Nimai has gone crazy. He is striking a Brahmana, he was trying to hit a Brahmana, he has gone crazy, he is chanting Gopi, Gopi like that. He spread some negative rumors about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Mahaprabhu came back and then he contemplated. He said that I have come here to spread the holy names of the Lord. I have come here to establish Yuga Dharma. But the opposite thing is happening. Although I came here to deliver people, people are becoming more and more offensive because they are not taking me seriously. Because I am playing the role of a grihastha, a householder, people are thinking that I am also amongst them. They are not giving me sufficient respect. So actually, of course, amanina manadena principle is there, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that if other people respect him, then that is good for them. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that I will accept sannyas. Then seeing me as a sannyasi, people will do pranam to me, and even such blasphemers also, nindakas also, mayavadis also will offer respects to me. Then I can forgive all their offenses and I can give them Krishna prema. For that they should first offer obeisances. At least if I appear in the form of a sannyasi, then at least they will offer obeisances. Then pranatite haibe ihara aparadhakshaya nirmala hridaye bhakti karaiba udaya. So they offer pranams and their aparadha will be nullified and nirmala hridaye, and their hearts will become contaminationless. Okay. Then with this understanding, with this mood, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas, and from Keshava Bharati he accepted sannyas in the village of Katwa. Okay. That's another elaborate description. So this is the last incident in Adilila, but there were a few nice shlokas at the end of Adilila. Probably we will begin the Madhya Leela with this concluding shlokas of Adilila in the next session. But today, because we have completed the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu up to his acceptance of sannyasa, we kind of concluded Adilila discussion today. But the few shlokas at the end, very nectarian shlokas, that describe the mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Srimati Radharani, as a devotee, that we will take up in the beginning of next session, and we will begin Madhya Leela in the next session. So with this I will conclude today's session. Sorry for taking extra time. So thank you all very much. Sri Caitanya-caritamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.